What's up, everybody? It's that time of the year again, where the sun begins to set a little sooner and the air feels a bit colder, sending chills throughout your body. It's almost Halloween, which means it's time to put on that sweater and turn on some of the very best games that will get you lost in the Halloween spirit. So sit back and turn off the lights and get ready for my top picks of the best games to play during Halloween. Welcome to this creepy little shrine. Let's go ahead and get started with my first pick. First on the list, The Melting Apartment. It's an indie horror game immersing players in a surreal, atmospheric experience set inside a decaying apartment building. The game follows the protagonist as they navigate eerie hallways, interact with unsettling residents, and solve cryptic puzzles. The apartment itself seems to be alive, constantly shifting, with walls melting and reality distorting. The game plays on psychological horror, blending retro aesthetics with a haunting narrative that keeps the player guessing. The game stands out due to its minimalistic graphics and sound design, which effectively amplifies the sense of dread despite the Game Boy Color's hardware limitations. It evokes the unsettling feeling of being trapped in a space that is slowly falling apart, both physically and mentally. The story, while cryptic, explores themes of isolation, fear, and the uncanny, drawing players into an immersive, eerie atmosphere, which is why this is the perfect pick for this list. In the second spot is another hidden gem called Opossum Country. It's a creepy, atmospheric indie game, and although it's quite short, the blending of retro charm with unsettling horror is a must-play this Halloween season. The game is set in a rural, desolate landscape where the protagonist, stranded in an isolated town, must navigate a series of strange encounters with its bizarre inhabitants and, hence the title, opossums, who seem far too intelligent. The game's appeal lies in its slow burn tension and surreal storytelling through pixelated lo-fi visuals. It creates a sense of creeping dread using the limitations of the Game Boy Color to its advantage by keeping much of the horror subtle and implied. The use of rural folklore, isolation, and eerie animal behavior adds to its unique, unnerving charm, making Opossum Country a haunting experience for fans of retro horror. In third place is an SNES classic called Blackthorn. Blackthorn is a dark cinematic platformer developed by Blizzard Entertainment for the SNES back in 1994. The game follows Kyle Blackthorn, a brooding shotgun-wielding warrior who must reclaim his homeworld from forces of darkness. After being exiled to Earth as a child, Kyle returns to find his planet overrun by a mutant-like Quadrasul army, led by the evil Sarlacc. Equipped with combat skills and a powerful shotgun, Kyle embarks on a journey through dangerous environments to liberate his people and fulfill his destiny. With its moody atmosphere, influenced by dark fantasy and sci-fi elements, from dark foreboding caves to high-tech dungeons, it's a perfect game to play during these cold autumn nights. Next up is another SNES classic. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a quirky, action-packed run-and-gun game released for the NES back in 1993. The game follows two teenagers, Zeke and Julie, as they battle an invasion of classic B-movie monsters, including zombies, vampires, werewolves, mummies, and more. Armed with an arsenal of wacky weapons ranging from squirt guns and soda cans to weed whackers, the duo must save their neighbors from the monsters swarming through suburban neighborhoods, shopping malls, and haunted mansions. The game features fast-paced cooperative gameplay and its playful nods to classic horror films. Each level is designed like a mini horror scenario filled with hidden items, secret areas, and plenty of humor amidst the chaos. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a perfect blend of horror and humor to make it on the must-play list this Halloween. In fifth place, and quite possibly one of my favorite games to play on my RG35XX SP, is Metroid Spooky Mission. It's an unofficial fan-made indie game created for the Game Boy Advance, inspired by the classic Metroid series. In this spooky-themed adventure, players once again control the iconic bounty hunter Samus, but this time she is tasked with investigating a derelict castle that has been overrun by strange and terrifying life forms. The castle is steeped in eerie darkness and strange ghostly apparitions and mutated creatures lurking in its abandoned halls. This Metroid game features a Halloween-inspired atmosphere, and the environments are designed to evoke a sense of isolation and tension, with flickering lights, shadowy corridors, and unsettling audio cues. What makes Metroid Spooky Mission stand out is how it layers in Halloween-themed spooky elements that keeps players on the edge. This one is a no-brainer as to why it made my Halloween list. In 6th place is another GBA classic, Monster House, for the Game Boy Advance released back in 2006. It's a top-down action-adventure game based on the animated horror comedy film of the same name. In the game, players take control of 3 kids, DJ, Chowder, and Jenny, who must navigate a terrifying sentient house that has come alive, trapping them inside. The house is filled with creepy traps, living furniture, and various monsters, all working to stop the trio from uncovering its dark secrets. The gameplay mixes exploration and combat, with each character using unique weapons like water guns and slingshots to fend off the house's monstrous inhabitants. Though aimed at a younger audience, the game delivers enough spooky atmosphere and tense moments to make it a fun experience for fans of lighthearted, family-friendly horror. In the lucky number 7 spot is Mizurna Falls, a 1998 open-world mystery adventure game for the PlayStation. Set in a small, remote town in Colorado, the game follows Matthew Williams, a high school student searching for his missing friend Emma after she mysteriously disappears. As Matthew investigates, he uncovers dark secrets about the town and its inhabitants, including possible connections to supernatural events and a murder. This game is heavily influenced by the atmospheric storytelling of Twin Peaks, blending slice-of-life small-town dynamics with eerie, unsettling undertones. Players explore the open world of Mizurna Falls in real time, interacting with residents, solving puzzles, and driving between locations. The game's time-sensitive mechanics requires players to manage their actions carefully, as events unfold on a set schedule over 7 days. Depending on the player's decisions, the story can branch into multiple endings. Though relatively obscure due to its Japan-only release, Mizurna Falls is considered a cult classic for its ambitious open-world design, cinematic storytelling, and eerie atmosphere. If you can withstand some of the jank, this one is a must-play to get you into that spooky mood. Next up is Death Jr. and its sequel, Death Jr. 2: Root of Evil. These action platformer games released for the PSP back in 2005 and 2006 respectively. Both titles follow Death Jr., the son of the Grim Reaper, as he embarks on misadventures alongside his quirky group of friends, each with their own strange and spooky abilities. The game combines dark, humorous storytelling with a mix of platforming, puzzle solving, and fast-paced combat. Both of these games are beloved for their unique, gothic, cartoon aesthetic reminiscent of Tim Burton's style and their fast-paced, chaotic combat. While they didn't achieve massive commercial success, they garnered a cult following for their charming characters, imaginative worlds, and playful take on dark themes that are a perfect fit to entertain you during these October nights. Up next is a game I guarantee you won't see on any other list. Jumpstart 4th Grade Haunted Island is an educational adventure game released back in 1996 aimed at teaching core 4th grade subjects like math, science, language arts, and history, which might not be a bad idea for all the TikTok-obsessed zombies. The game follows the protagonist, a 4th grade student named Jessie, who must rescue her friend Pierre from the evil vampire sorceress Miss Grunkle, who has trapped them on a spooky puzzle-filled island. Set in a haunted mansion, the eerie island environments balances educational content with adventure and mild scares, using its spooky theme to engage players. Jumpstart 4th Grade Haunted Island is a game many 90s kids might have forgotten, but is a welcome addition to this list, giving us a nice dose of retro nostalgia, which is why I think it's a must-play this Halloween season, if you can find it. On a more serious note, the next game is a contender for my favorite game of 2025. It's called Still Wakes the Deep, a first-person horror game that plunges players into the eerie, claustrophobic world of an offshore oil rig, where a mysterious and deadly presence begins to terrorize the crew. Players assume the role of an oil rig worker who finds themselves trapped on the platform during a violent storm. As communication is lost and strange supernatural events unfold, the player must navigate the narrow industrial corridors of the rig while evading one of the most terrifying creatures I'd ever faced in my gaming experience. The game blends survival horror elements with immersive storytelling, focusing on the psychological tension of isolation, fear, and the unknown. The game features some of the best voiceover dialogue that rivals even the best Hollywood films, and the graphics are not for the faint of heart. There are some moments in the game that are so cinematic I completely forgot I was playing a game. With its emphasis on atmosphere, Still Still Awakes the Deep delivers a tense, immersive experience that draws heavily on the isolation of deep-sea environments. The game's eerie visuals, realistic sound design, and narrative focus creates a hauntingly immersive world where players will not face only physical dangers, but also the psychological horrors of being stranded in an unforgiving and mysterious setting. If you haven't checked out this title yet, please do yourselves a favor and play it this Halloween season. You won't regret it. Next on the list is another indie game that's a perfect fit for any handheld PC or Steam Deck. It's called Killer Frequency. It's a first-person horror comedy game set in the 1980s where players take on the role of a late-night radio DJ named Jack, who finds himself in a terrifying situation when a serial killer begins targeting the town's residents. As Jack, players must interact with various callers on the radio, providing them with guidance and support while also unraveling clues about the killer's identity. The game cleverly mixes elements of horror and humor, creating an engaging narrative where players must make quick decisions that can affect the outcome for both the callers and themselves. The gameplay features a mix of exploration, puzzle solving, and dialogue choices, allowing players to investigate the radio station and the surrounding town to gather information. The game employs a distinctive art style and a dynamic soundtrack, enhancing the retro atmosphere and adding to the tension. Players are kept on the edge as they navigate the dangers of the night, all while trying to maintain their role as a reassuring voice on the radio. This game was a hidden gem for me as I didn't really know what to expect upon first playing, and has now become an instant classic that's sure to get you into this season's spirit. In the 12th spot is a game I literally played out the title. Until Dawn is a horror game set in a remote mountain lodge that follows a group of 8 young friends who reunite for a weekend getaway 1 year after a tragic incident involving 2 of their friends. As they settle in, they find themselves being hunted by a mysterious and deadly presence in the woods. The gameplay is heavily focused on player choices and branching narratives where every decision can have significant consequences, affecting the character's survival and the story's outcome. Players control various characters throughout the game, making choices that influence their relationships and the unfolding events. The game also features a unique butterfly effect system where seemingly minor choices can lead to vastly different scenarios and endings. Until Dawn is a game I started with a friend and was so good we played it the entire night and into the following morning. The game is perfect for those who want to just sit back with friends on a couch and share the intense jump scares that will entertain horror fans far and wide. Next up is Borderlands, which might not be known as a game to get you into that Halloween spirit, but with the Bloody Harvest DLC, it might just be one of the best first-person shooters out there that really captures the season. Bloody Harvest is a seasonal event and DLC for Borderlands 3, released in October 2019, designed to celebrate Halloween. The event introduces a spooky twist to the game, adding new content, challenges, and a special themed area. During the event, players can explore a new location where they will encounter Halloween-themed enemies, including ghostly apparitions and monstrous creatures. In addition to the new content, Bloody Harvest introduced special mechanics, such as the Haunted debuff, which causes players to be temporarily cursed and adds an extra layer of challenge during battles. With this festive atmosphere, engaging gameplay, and the way it blends the franchise's signature humor with Halloween-themed horror, this is a must-play for those looking to celebrate this spooky season. And last but not least is Fears to Fathom. It's an episodic psychological horror game where each episode unveils a short story narrated by the ones who survived. My favorite, Fears to Fathom Ironbark Lookout, is an episode of the indie horror anthology where players assume the role of a young adult who embarks on a trip to a remote lookout point in the woods. As you explore the area, you'll encounter strange occurrences and chilling encounters that evoke a sense of dread and paranoia. The game blends exploration, atmospheric storytelling, and choice-driven mechanics, allowing players to shape their experience as they uncover the unsettling events surrounding the lookout. The game's visual style is marked by its pixel art and retro graphics, which enhances the eerie atmosphere, making it the perfect game to finish off this list. So there you have it, my top games to play during Halloween. I had so many more hidden gems that didn't make this year's list. That's why I suggest you like and subscribe, that way you'll be ready for next year's Halloween special. Thank you so much for joining me this year. I hope you have a spooktacular Halloween, and like always, thanks for watching.